there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. Today we'll be making this sweet little card. It could be an anniversary card or a wedding card. It says heart to heart, wishing you love and laughter forever after. So this is number 3 in my Lots of Heart Create Kit. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current Create Kit I'm offering. Now for this project, we'll be using the Heart to Heart stamp set, but if you don't have this stamp set, because I told you it was kind of optional, you could use different sentiments that you want to use. This could be a thank you card, it could be a thinking of you card. It doesn't have to be anniversary or wedding, but it's, you know, it's always nice to have one of those on hand. And then of course we'll be using the dies from our Lots of Heart bundle, these beautiful dies. So let's get started making our card. So I always like to start out with cutting our cardstock. And this is the cardstock you'll have from your kit. You're going to need, let's see, that thick Whisper White card base that I gave you, you'll need that. You're going to need your Bermuda Bay. I'll just get this Bermuda Bay out. I don't know if I'll need the big sheet, but we'll see. I think I will. Yeah, it looks like I might. Then we're going to need some Whisper White. This is leftover from project number 2. So we'll be needing this DSP. And I think that's all. Okay, so we'll put this away. Now, following our PDF, we have our thick Whisper White card base. That's good. Next, we're going to need a 3.5 by 3.5. So I'll use the smaller piece here. If you have any scraps or whatever, you can use those too. 3.5 by 3.5. Whisper White, and then the next is a 3 by 3. So we'll go ahead and get this piece out. 3 by 3. Oops. And then a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I think we can get our 5 1/8 this way. So we'll do 3 7/8. And then 5 1/8. And I think that's it for Whisper White. 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay, put those over there. And we have our white we can put away. Our Bermuda Bay, we need a 3 by 3. So I'll get this out. 3 by 3. And then we need a panel, so we're going to have to cut this in half like we always do. 5 1/2. Oops. All right, be nice. 5 1/2. Then we're going to cut this down to 4 inches wide by 5 1/4. That's our inside panel. 5 1/4. And the rest we can put away, I believe. Except, yeah, we do need one from our kit. From your little goodie bag, you're going to need a piece that is 1 inch by 6 inches, and it has adhesive backing on it. I did that for you. Wasn't that nice to me? Now our stitching, our Bermuda Bay stitching DSP should be 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut that at 5 1/4 this way. And then it should be 3 3/8. 3 and 1 2 3/8. 3 3/8. So just a little bit needs to be cut off. So 3 3/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, that's our cutting. Next we'll do our stamping, and it looks like the stamping is going to be the inside, wishing you love and laughter forever after, or whatever you're going to use. And then we'll need to get from our little goodie bag this label right here. So I give you enough that you have an extra one for each card that we do with the labels. But here's, I'll go ahead and get 2 out. I might only need the 1, hopefully. So we're going to stamp on this and this. Here's my Stamparatus, and then I'm going to use some Bermuda Bay ink for my stamping. So I'll get my ink out, get in camera here too, so you can see. Oops, I didn't close that all the way last night. I hope it didn't dry out, but maybe it did. I've got ink refill though if it did. Okay, so we're also going to need a 4x6 piece of window sheet or plastic, clear plastic, if you don't have window sheet. And we'll start by stamping. Let's go ahead and stamp the inside, wishing you love and laughter forever after. And this is right here. Where is it? Have to look at it this way because it's backwards and upside down. Wishing you love and laughter forever after. And then heart to heart is this one right here. Okay. So my love and laughter ever after is going here. And I'll pick that up with my Stamparatus, put that back in the corner. Okay, we'll see if my ink is dried out. I keep telling myself to remember to make sure this is closed all the way, because sometimes it fools me. It looks like it's closed and it's not. Okay, I'm gonna slide this under my plastic and line it up. Wishing you love and laughter. That's a nice little saying. That'd be great for an anniversary or a wedding too. Yeah, my pad was already kind of dry, so it wouldn't take it much to dry it out. Let's gently do that again just to get a nice crisp image. There we go. Okay, so I will clean that off with my little chamois. And then next is going to be heart to heart. So we'll move this. Now this is a small piece, so I have a piece of scratch paper that I put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on, and then I use that to hold my paper in place, my little label in place. Let me wipe off this too. Just gonna reuse it, and I'm gonna dry it off with my microfiber cloth. Put that in place. Heart to heart. Right there's good. Ink it up. Make my image on my plastic. And And now since I have this on scratch paper, I can just, oh, it kind of moved. I hope it's didn't move much. We'll see. Heart to heart. I do have that extra one if I need it. Put that on my scratch paper. Put this on the other side of my scratch paper. Ink it up. Stamp it down. I'm going to do that just one more time. It kind of came up when I pulled. Sometimes it's good to just gently pull it up so it doesn't. There, it didn't matter. And then these ends, on the ends, it's not quite there. That looks good. Heart to heart. Clean that up. Make sure I snapped it good. Clean up my ink. Makes a funny noise, doesn't it? Scrubbing it. Okay, that's our stamping. So I'm going to clear all this away. I'm going to wipe my, clean off my plastic, clear it off, and dry it off. Put my stamps and ink away. So it seems like no matter how hard I try, I always get ink on my fingers. That's okay. So now we're going to do some die cutting. I have these beautiful hearts images to die cut. And it looks like we're going to need our 3.5 by white, our 3 by white, our 3 by Bermuda Bay, and it looks like we should have done another 3 Bermuda Bay. I think we were supposed to have another Bermuda Bay 3 by 3. Yeah. Oops. So we're gonna have to get our Bermuda Bay out and do another one. So I'll bring this in and we'll do another 3 by 3 Bermuda Bay. Sorry about that. You know that's sort of my signature though. I always forget something. It wouldn't be me if I didn't forget something. Now I'm going to bring in my handy dandy mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which I'm in love with now that I've used it. I had it almost 3 weeks before I used it, maybe even a month. I just didn't have the reason to use it. But the biggest reason I wanted is because I would be able to use it with my classes and my videos, and it's worked out perfectly. So I'll put these away, out of the way for now. We need our 2 pieces of 3 by 3 Bermuda Bay, 3 by 3 white, and 3.5 by 3.5 white. And this die set fits perfectly in the mini. All of these dies will fit in the mini. So, you know, most of the dies I've seen will fit in the mini. So don't think that it's just too small, because it's not. It's a tough little guy, even though. There is one thing though, I will need to put this through the big one because I'm going to be using a larger piece when I cut the birds out. But other than that, I can fit everything in the mini. So the first one is the 3.5 by 3.5. I'm going to use our scalloped die for that. And I still have some leftover white from before. So 3.5 will fit perfectly on there. Put this on. So we have a 1, a 2, and a 2. going to run this through. Just a little bit more, takes a little bit more. I don't know if it's because it's new or if it's just because it's smaller. It does take a little bit of more energy to get it to go through there. And part of it is that it's on paper too, so. Okay, so get all those little things out of my die so it'll be ready for next time. Okay. Clean this off. And now we're going to do, oh, there's where all those little things went to. I'll take my brush and scrape those off into my trash bin over here. Okay, so we got our 1, our 2, and now we're going to do white. And with this, with the 3x3 white, we are going to do, I'm looking at my PDF, the medium heart die. Now, oh, I think I showed you before. These two dies here look very similar in size, but one has a double cutting edge and one has a single cutting edge. This is the one I say is the medium heart die. This is the one when I talk about it is referred to the double edged. So the 3x3 white gets cut with the double edged heart, and that's this one right here. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and slide that through. Okay. So this is the part we need. We don't really need this part. You can save it for another card. So that's our double edge. Now with our 3x3 Bermuda Bay, we are going to use the, what I call the medium, not the double edge, but the medium heart. And we're going to use this, which I call the floral heart. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. All right, so 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, and 2. I'm going to feed that through. Come on, now you can do this. Awesome. And it looks like it cut all the way through. So with a die like this, you like to use your die brush to get those extra little pieces out. See how easy that is? And then some things you might have to poke out, the really small ones. So use your pokey tool for that. So this is the die brush that goes with the take your pick tool. So I'll get rid of these. Okay, so I've cleaned off all my little pieces from everywhere. Now we're going to get our medium die. We've got our 1, 2, our 3x3, our medium heart die, and then our 2. And there it is. So that is all of our die cutting. Isn't that fun? So I'll put my little machine away. Oh, we're not done with our die cutting. No, 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 no. Of course. I always tell you that. We need to get that 1x6 piece of that has the backing on it. This is like 1x6, did I say? Yeah, it has adhesive backing. Now we're going to use this die, and I call this the multi-heart border. So all we need to do now is to center this. If it hangs off a little, don't worry, because you're not going to need the whole thing. So just center it. I'm going to put it down here. And you know, I think I will just use a little bit of my tape to hold that down in place, just so it doesn't move around when I send it through. Oops, I got it in crooked. That's my fault. Okay, come on, go through there now. This paper does not help, but it's good for when I make a mess, but when I'm trying to do this, it doesn't work too good. Okay, so now we are done with our little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So we can put it away now. You can go take a nap. I'm sure it's got a workout there. Okay, and then this comes out like that. So don't need that part. It came out clean, then nothing stuck to it. It's unusual. So I'm going to bring that out back in my foam for this. It looks like it might be better to just poke it out. Okay, I have them all. Now this does have adhesive backing, so that makes it so much easier for you to put on your card. Okay, I think we're ready to assemble our card. So I'm going to bring everything back in, including my trimmer, because I'm going to now score my cardstock at 4 1/4. And there's my 4 1/4. I'm going to use my scoring blade and then fold away. And crease that fold. Yay. All right, so we know we have our inside. That goes on the inside. And then this is our outside. This is going to go on the front like that. Then this is going to go underneath. So I guess we can just go ahead and get started. I have my Stampin' seal. This is such cute paper. Look at those darling snails. I hate to cover them up, but I'm going to use them for another project. So looks like it's about 1/8 of an inch on these 3 sides. And then down here, you've got that, but before we put that on, I want to go ahead and do the inside. Okay, so I realized I did not die cut the inside of our card for our little birds, and I think that adds so much. So what I'm going to do is do that right now. And we're going to use our little bird. I guess that's its tail, feathers. That's what I figured. That's its tail feathers. So we're going to just kind of put that in the center. And I will need my big cut and emboss for this. So I'm going to grab that. It's the mama. And let me go ahead and put this in place. I guess I'm gonna use my removable Scotch removable tape because I know that it's pretty good about not sticking to my paper. And I'm going to use this to measure. Now this is 4 1/4. This is, what is this? This is 5 1/8. So we need 2 1/2 is going to be about the center, a little bit more than the center. So I'm going to put my bird there, that one there. Okay, I'm going to run that through. Get my top plate here. I'll run this through. Get that little birdie. I'm not going to put him all the way through because I don't have a lot of room. That's one of the reasons I like the little one, because it doesn't take up a lot of room. Okay, so here's this little birdie here. Gently pull that off so I don't rip my paper. All right. And then once I get that one, what I can do is, I see some of my tape stayed there. You get that off. I'm going to flip it around to the other side. I probably didn't need to use as big a piece of tape as I used. All right, so then I'm going to flip it around to the other side. Find my 2 1/2 again. So these two birds are going to actually be like almost kissing. The first two that I did, they weren't. No, that one needs to come up a little bit. I'm out of camera. Here, let me move this. It's so big. It feels so big now because of that little one I'm used to using. So 2 1/2. And just want to, whoops, stuck to my finger, not the bird. 2 1/2. And I just want to make sure that the tail is the same distance from the bottom so that they look perfect. And that looks good. So I'm going to run that one through. Okay, let's see about that bird. How that bird did. Oh, makes a cute little bird there. See? Okay. Don't get distracted. You could use your little birds later for something else. Your little doves. You could call those doves, I guess. So now when I remove this gently, well, that's the back, so it doesn't really matter, does it? I have my two birds. Now, this looks a little like, because I die cut it on that side, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder around the edges, and I'm just going to, this part, not the pointy part, and I'm just going to go around the edges and get rid of that ridge. And believe it or not, it does work. This one's got ridges too, which are kind of neat looking, but I'm going to take those off because I don't want it to be different from the other side. So now my little birds look like the same. No ridges. Now we are ready to put this on the inside of our card. Get my Stampin' seal. And I can see I have leftover stuff. If you ever have that, you can just take that with a clean pencil eraser. We'll take that off. I'll deal with that later. So I'm going to crease that again because it wants to stand up and wave at me. And I don't want it waving at me. Alright, so it's still doing it. Okay, so this is going to go on the front, and you can see you want your hearts. You want to make it so that your hearts are there, sticking out, and it's like right there on the edge. So that tells me I need to start with my heart right on the edge there. I'm going to remove the backing gently. You don't want to pull too hard or you'll stretch it out of shape, and then it'll look all wonky on you. So gently pull it off. Put my heart started over here on the edge, very edge, and then you can decide how close you want it to the bottom edge and how close you want it to the paper, the DSP. Okay, I'll push that down. Isn't that pretty? Such a pretty border. Now some of it does stick out, so I'm just going to take it here on the back. I'm not going to cut the heart part. I'm just going to cut the tail part. This part sticks out just a bit, but I'm not going to cut that. I don't think that would look good. Now the fun part, we put our heart together. So we have our heart base, and then we're going to put this down. But, you know, I think it might be better. Let's do this. Let's put this on here first. And I'm going to do that with glue. Now there's plenty. Where's my glue? There's plenty of places on this to put your glue. Little dots of glue, and you might make sure that all the old glue is off the tip so that it does right, it acts right. So just tiny little dots of glue, like pinhead, about the size of a pinhead, not even that big. Anywhere that you can find a place that you can put it without it running over the side. And there are plenty of places. So that's one of the reasons I didn't put this on adhesive backing, because this lends itself to glue pretty easily. Just have to be patient. Make sure you get as much on as you can without overdoing it. All right, we're going to let that dry just a second. And I don't know, maybe we'll go ahead and put this on. I had concerns about getting it in there, lining it up perfectly, but I think we can do that. I think we can line it up. So this is the back. I'm going to put some glue on it. And I'm going to put it in the center. And that looks good. Let that dry. Looks like I missed a little thing there. Now this is dried enough that I think we can put it on here without it doing crazy things. It does hang over a little bit, but that's what we want. All right. Good, good, good. This we're going to put on top with some mini dimensionals. Now if you're going to mail this, you might not want to use the mini dimensionals because they will give it extra height, which could cause you to have to pay extra postage. If it's something you're going to hand deliver, then you might want to go ahead and use the dimensionals. I think it would be pretty either way. I just like popping it up because I think it gives it. But if you're going to go to all the trouble to make a handmade card, paying a little bit extra in postage is just really not a big deal. If it gets there, you know, without looking mangled. I've gotten cards in the mail. It's really heartbreaking when you get this beautiful card that you know somebody's taken the time to make, and then the post office just their machines have ruined it. It's so sad. Okay, so that's a little bit off, but is it going to bother me? Let me see if I can move it over. No, that's not going to bother me. I could pull it off if it was, but it's not off enough to bother me. I can live with that. All right, so the last thing we need to do is put this on our card front. Well, we've got some other things to do. We got to put our heart to heart on too. So I'm going to think that it's best to go ahead and put your heart to heart on, so that you make sure that you have, oh wait, you're going to put your heart to heart on last because this does overlap the heart a little bit. So let's get our glue. Put this, and it's about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch from the top in the center. More than 1/8 of an inch from the top of the Bermuda Bay, but not much. Okay, is that looking centered? I think so. There's 4 hearts and 4 hearts, so if this is in the middle of the hearts, then you know it's centered. So I need to bring that over a little bit. Let's see if I can slide it still. There, just a little. Now I know it's perfect because it's right in the middle of those 4 hearts. Now I'm going to put this on with some mini, actually, I used, you know what, this is really weird. All right, so I used regular dimensionals on the ends, and I matched the flat sides with the flat edges there. And because the heart was here, I used a mini dimensional in the center, like that. So where the heart is, I've got a mini dimensional in the center and big ones on the edge, on the regular ones on the ends. The mini ones aren't as thick as the regular ones, so that will make up for the difference in the height. So again, the 2 should be in the middle, and just wherever you think it looks good. I do want a little bit of the blue showing beneath. There we go. Now we're almost done. We just need to put our pretty pearls on there. So you'll find in your goodie bag you had a little bag that had your embellishments in it. And this has 3 of the smallest pearl basic jewels. I thought the pearls were really elegant and just make this card really elegant. And there's 3 flowers, so there's 1 flower there, putting it in the center and pushing it down. There's 1 flower there, and then there's 1 flower, oops, come on, 1 flower up here, the center. Now find the center and push it down in there. Okay, guess what? We're done now. For real. All right, well, thanks for joining me, and check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current Create kit I'm offering. Thanks for watching. Bye now.